All right. And then, then how would you feel? How do you think it would feel if you're presented with an identity theft issue? So there's some things to think about there. So the FCC estimates that recovering from identity theft takes about an average of 6 months to 200 hours of work. And what does that kind of look like? Well, that's they're really talking about you're going to have to make phone calls, you may have to have written correspondence, keeping track of creditors, responding to letters, working with credit bureaus, law enforcement, possibly involving the victim, making sure that they won't be liable for debts thieves may have created in their name. So it's really if this does happen, it kind of, I tell people, it kind of spreads like a spider web, and it kind of goes all over the place. So, with all the recent data breaches, there's a huge problem with everyone faces. Identity theft. Criminals don't want your money, they want your identity. So this is a little graph. As we all will assume, identity theft just keeps going up and up and up. This is at 2020, and I think I read 6.4 is in 2021. And so it's not something that's getting better. Just a few other things. Since the data breaches have happened since 2005, there's been 12,000 of them. So that kind of goes back to people go, well, I'm pretty, I watch my information. I'm pretty good about all this. It's like, the problem is people we worked for, people we bought from weren't, and so our information's out there. Right now, there's 1 in 10 people in the United States that have been directly affected by identity fraud, or they know somebody who has. That number keeps getting close. I talked about this a year ago, was 1 in 15. And only about 25% of people online use a VPN to shield themselves from identity theft. And identity theft is one of the most common issues consumers report in 2020. And it's like I said before, it's not getting better. So see, these are some of the things that sometimes people don't quite understand all the different things that are out there. So, if somebody gets your identity, they can actually commit a crime using your information. Employment, they can actually get a job with your information. They can apply for unemployment with your information. Medical, they can use your medical insurance. They can have procedures done, order prescriptions. Financial, good example, people, Ann Pryor, I think it was about a year ago, was very vocal. She had identity theft and they drained her bank accounts. Driver's license, just had a woman I just talked to the other day. Somebody got her driver's license. And what they do is they take your number and create a driver's license with their picture on it. She's gotten 2 speeding tickets sitting on her table. Now the issue is, what do you do? If she pays them, she's guilty, and that's a problem. If she doesn't pay them, then they may have a warrant for her arrest. And then children, the biggest issue there is that people, Social Security numbers are a target, because if they get them, they start using them, and nobody will ever know until they're old enough. So those are some of the things. So you got to ask yourself, have you ever worried about being a victim of identity theft, had your personal information at risk, lost your wallet, feared for security of your medical information, worried about entering personal information online? So impact on victims, may have problems securing loans. You may have a debt collectors on debts that you have owed. So somebody may take out a loan, somebody may take out something, you don't know about it until all of a sudden debt collectors after you. And you're like, that wasn't me. Possible arrest for criminals, crimes committed by an identity theft, background checks, there may be red flags out there. Difficulties focusing on your work, because if it happens to you, I'm going to tell you right now, that's you're gonna stop everything and try and work and figure this out. And it also may affect your business. And you could lose clients over it. So what can they do with your personal information? Well, some of the obvious things: they can open a bank account, they can write bad checks, open credit cards, or open loans, obtain cell phones. Have a gentleman sitting right in my office here. He had ID Shield, and he walked over one day and told me a story that he went to buy a cell phone, went online, filled out the application, decided not to do it, went down to the, I believe it was a AT&T store, and got the phone. 2 weeks later, he got a letter in the mail that he bought 3 iPhones and committed to the services and took out a bank loan. So luckily he had ID Shield. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Open new utility accounts in your name. They can all take over your phone, your electricity, your gas accounts. Steal your tax refunds, so they can a lot of that kind of goes in. And we had that back in the days and when companies were getting punished, or they were having emails sent in, they sent all the information out, and they were filing people's tax returns. Get medical care. Use your information in the event of arrest or court action. So that's a lot of negative stuff, a lot of bad things that can go on out there. So what do you do? What's a solution? So I'm going to take you a little bit through the ID Shield product and how that all works compared to what we just talked about. So this is a little bit of an overview. You're going to want to have something that has unlimited consultation and guidance through this whole thing, somebody to talk to. You actually want to have real-time monitoring of all of your pertinent information. You want to know about your private and security monitoring. And if this were to happen to you, you'd want somebody to be able to take it over and restore it. That's the key thing about it. ID Shield does do that. We'll talk about that a little bit here. And you want to be able to have an app that keeps you 24/7 connected. So let's take a look at. So the main part of this is you're going to want to monitor everything that matters. So Social Security numbers are big. Your driver's license number, all your credit cards, all your bank accounts, emails, everything that's out there, dark web, all those things that are needed to be watched. And so that's the main part of what ID Shield does. And then there's some other things here that are nice: privacy and social media reputation management. So we have a proprietary technology that scans all your social media accounts and looks for potential reputation damaging content out there. So when I put this out there, I had a bunch of pictures with beer in it, and they said those are things you probably should take down. And there's some things that were, maybe comments were made on some stuff I did. So it brings all these things up for you to be able to take a look at it. Maybe probably get rid of it. Another nice thing about this is that hopefully people do have some type of security for their computers. But along with your ID Shield, you get Trend Micro. So that's a proactive protection against ever-involving malware infections. So you're going to put this on all your devices. VPN should have on here again all your devices. And I would say that most of the issues people are having is probably because of their phones, because they're going into unsecured, high-risk Wi-Fi areas. We're in coffee shops, we're in different buildings. We're just, got our cell phone, we're taking a look at stuff. And, if we have VPN, we should have VPN on all of this stuff: your iPad, your computer, your cell phones, and then a password manager. The password manager is having just one password. Everything is encrypted. So these are all, things that we need to be having on our devices to really help make it tough and hard for anybody to steal our information. So the other thing is, with ID Shield, there's a 1 million identity fraud protection plan. So that will mean anything that were to happen, that you would have to incur cost to restore your identity. And so one thing that the ID Shield has that nobody else has is we have licensed private investigators. So the gentleman that had the cell phone issue, he got that bill. So he took out a loan. He had bought 3 iPhones, activated them. He called ID Shield, got a licensed private investigator assigned to his case, and he signed over limited power of attorney, and she took off and was now his best friend, because she was then out fixing it or looking at getting this all cleaned up and then reporting back to him. Took about 3 months, but all he did was take a phone call to listen where she was at. So, and we're in the employee benefit world. We're rated #1 of all the identity theft products out there. A lot of people know about us because their company has it. And this is what the portal looks like. So, you got the credit and dark web. So that's where all the information goes in that they're monitoring. That's where you're gonna spend a lot of time putting information in. These other modules are there. Reputation module, I have that activated. And then the anti-malware protection, VPN and password. I use it on some of my devices. Actually, I've got to cancel my other plan and just put this on all my devices. So, but I have VPN, and we have VPN on all our phones. So there's 2 ways you can get this. One, you can get it for an individual, so $9.95, and Trend Micro will actually cover 3 of your devices. If you get it for the family, it's $34.95 a month. It'll cover you, your spouse, domestic partners, if there are any children. Covers up to 10 of them, and you can actually cover 15 devices with that plan. So what that kind of looks like is the individual family plan. And if you're not a Legal Shield member, this is something to think about. Even if you are a Legal Shield member, maybe you don't even know about this. But along with our membership, comes a thing called Member Perks. And I tell everybody, anytime you're out buying something, go into Member Perks first, because we've saved $500. We bought a car, found out there was a $500 rebate through Member Perks. We got that. Just I've saved money on tires, just things I buy. So a month ago, my wife and I wanted to join a health club. So I said, and it's LA Fitness. I said, go out there and see if there's anything. Well, I'm sure there is, right? So we saved, annually, we're going to save $270 just because we had the Member Perks. So we were in there and said we had that, and the guy was like, yeah, that's a really good deal, do that. And I probably anywhere from $250 to $500 a year I save. Guess what? That pays for my membership. So I feel a peace of mind. I've got the security, and I also got a place I can save some money. So a couple steps here is if you're wanting to enroll in this, we can have I'll send information out. You can take a look at it. So there are all the details in here. There's more than what I talked about. You can go to a web page, you can become a member. Like I said, I'll send that out. Or if you want, we can talk about this, have a short meeting. There's my contact information, and I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording.